So as you battle with your problem of low wages of older teachers, beware of the alternatives that will come your way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because this will be the next battle that you must fight. And part of that at the very bottom with technology is the view that technology does not enhance teaching, but technology can replace teaching. In states in America now, it is a requirement that students in secondary school must do one course online. If you have to do a course online, you're spending less time with your teacher. You have less need for teachers, even though there is no evidence that studying online is more effective than studying face-to-face with a teacher. This is not an argument against technology. In Canada, in Singapore, in this book, The Global Fourth Way, I've seen outstanding examples of teachers working with technology to enhance teachers and technology together, making deeper, more effective pedagogy. So this is not an argument against technology, but it is an argument against replacing teachers with technology. So what is the opposite of this view? It's a view that Michael Fullan and I call professional capital. We did not decide to write a book on professional capital. We stumbled across the idea, as many inventions do, in the middle of writing this book, because we had an idea but no word for it. We then thought, many people must have written about professional capital. So we went to Google, Wikipedia, Amazon, Google Scholar. There's almost nothing on. There are one or two papers in the area of health, but there's almost nothing on this, what we believe is a powerful idea, not only for teaching, but for other professions as well. What are the assumptions of professional capital? That teaching is technically difficult. Knowing your subject, understanding how the brain works, being able to diagnose children with different special educational needs and learning disabilities, knowing how to vary your teaching if your students are from Afghanistan or Iran or Turkey or another culture. All this requires technical knowledge, deep knowledge, the knowledge of a professional. It takes time to learn. It takes long periods of practice. It takes continuous learning. It takes help from other teachers. You cannot do this only by yourself. And you can do it with technology, but technology cannot do it for you instead. These are some of the assumptions of professional capital. So, I have no idea what this says, because the pictures are different, but I do know what this says. So there are really three things behind professional capital. There are three components. And the simple way to summarize the entire rest of the argument today is simply this. If you want teacher quality, you must do three things. Three things, they're very simple. One is find a way to choose the best people. Two, get them to work together. Three, make sure that they stay and keep learning and growing. Find the best people, get them to work together, make sure that they stay. It's a very simple theory of action. It is so desperately obvious And yet, everyone else who is talking about teacher quality does not have this theory. They have some other theory. They're bizarre theories. They are theories such as, let's reward the best teachers and punish the worst teachers. Let's compare teachers against each other. Let's select from the lowest end of the ability range and then keep checking on people to make sure they do their jobs properly. It's a strange theory of action. So 3 components of professional capital then are these. Human capital, which is your individual qualities, qualifications, experience, skills. Social capital, which is the skills, the knowledge that we have together in collaboration, in trust, in cooperation. And what we call, from a term borrowed from the field of law, decisional capital. How you make decisions and develop the power to make effective judgments over time. If you put these 3 things together, it's not quite E equals MC squared. It's not quite E equals MC squared, but it is, professional capital is a function, an interaction of human, social, and decisional capital. And I'll go through these now one by one. In general, I'll talk about the general principles. In the book, Professional Capital, there are many examples drawn from our research. And briefly, I will mention some of these from other countries as we move along. Probably you will be familiar with them. So, here is human capital. Your qualifications, how rigorous they are. Your knowledge, how long the period of preparation is. How effective you are in your competence. What emotional capacities you have with empathy and your ability to engage with a diverse population of students around you. This is human capital, the capital of individuals. And it's important, and probably at the moment, the most important issue, as I understand it, in Italy. What does getting better human capital actually mean? What does finding and attracting really good teachers truly mean? If you look at the list on the slide behind you, it means that, let's take pay as the very first thing. The thing about teachers' pay is that, not that it is very good pay, quite good pay and very good pay makes no difference in attracting people into teaching. The point of pay is to avoid bad pay. If you have bad pay, it is a disincentive. It stops people coming into teaching because they believe they cannot live or pay for their apartments, their homes. So the first thing is to avoid bad pay. In Finland, which is the highest performing country in Europe on PISA, the pay of teachers is just the average of developed countries. It's not very high, but it's not very low either. It is good enough, and that is what the pay needs to be. Once the pay is right, once it is not a disincentive, then there are other things that attract teachers into teaching. One is the status of teaching in the society. How do your politicians talk about teachers and teaching? In your municipality, in your states, in the whole country. Do they criticize teachers? Do they ignore teachers? Or do they speak of teachers as the saviors of the future of the society. In 1992, Finland had 19% unemployment because of the collapse of the Russian market after the Berlin Wall. At this time, the President, the Prime Minister, the heads of the universities, and the heads of business decided that the answer to Finland's financial problems was to invest in education, that its only resource was its people, so it must become probably the best knowledge economy, the most creative people in the world. And in doing this, they recognized they would need quality teachers. They attract quality teachers. If you apply to be a teacher in Finland, you have a 1 in 10 chance of being accepted in primary school. If you're looking for a husband in Finland, the number one preferred occupation of a future wife, actually, the number one preferred occupation of a future wife is to be a teacher. The number two preferred occupation, of a future husband is to be a teacher. With the men, the doctors are still number one. I apologize. But in both cases, the top two choices is to be a teacher. And this is not just because teachers are kind people, because they're gentle people. It is because of Charles Darwin. It is that when you are choosing a future husband or wife, you are choosing the parent of your future children. So you want to marry the smartest person in the room. And that person in Finland is a teacher. And that is why you choose them. So teachers have not just pay, more important than pay is status. Status in the society. Everyone in Finland sends their children to public schools. Everyone is invested in public education. Everyone wants quality teachers for their children. And then the conditions of work are good. The physical environment is beautiful in Finnish schools. And the social conditions of work are very good. Finnish teachers have more time to collaborate within the school day than teachers in any other country within the world. The paradox is, teachers in Finland know their children very well because they are not with them all the time. I love my wife a lot. She's here with me in Bologna, but not here right now because I would not dare to say this if she was. I love my wife. I love her more because we are not together all the time. Because, like now, when I'm away from her, I'm thinking about her. I have time to reflect on our relationship, to plan what we will do together. If I'm with her all the time, you cannot do this. And it's the same, know your children better if you're not with them all the time. These are some of the things about human capital, about attracting better, good enough pay, good conditions, the feeling you will have interesting colleagues to be with, long, rigorous training, high selection, status in the society. This is human capital. But here is the thing. Human capital, if you pay attention to this, will get you a large group of better teachers 10 years from now. 10 years from now. Before this takes time to work its way through, it will take 10 years. It's important, it's urgent, but if this is the only thing, what will you do while you're waiting for this new population to come through? And the answer is social capital.